And blueberries, for example, are really good for your brain. They have a lot of good anthocyanins, which are good for inflammation. Okay, so that's a generous 2 minutes. Very nice.
Big time.
All right, so if I was able to give you a little pill that would prevent Alzheimer's and dementia, how much would you pay for it? Any offers? How much would you pay? Priceless, that's not specific enough.
No.
I don't take priceless. I can't cash priceless for it.
I'd rather have food to prevent it than a pill.
All right, but if there was, how much would you pay for it?
50 grand.
50 grand, okay?
Whatever I have.
50 grand, and it's preventing you from 60,000 a year? That's pretty cheap. I don't know. I think the bottom line is going to be pretty. And so the point is, there's no silver bullet. And there will not be a silver bullet because it is more complex than just having a pill. The Alzheimer's Association actually says that as well. They don't say, they are trying to get cures from pharmaceutical solutions, but it is a multifactorial process and problem. So I put together this chart that shows at least 12 different arenas that are very, very important based on science and clinical studies and clinical experience that need to be addressed in order to reduce your chance of brain degeneration. It includes cleansing the liver, dealing with stress, addressing traumas, that can be physical and emotional, chemical toxicity, food allergens, meningeal compression, circulation issues, nutrition, proper nutrition, absorption and digestion, making sure that that's working properly, dealing with heavy metals, dealing with inflammation, and dealing with sugar. So that's 12 different areas. We don't have time to go through all of them. I'm going to hit on a few of them that are the key ones, though. So, I call this program, I changed it from brain health to brain wealth because people don't care about health, usually, but they care about money. So I changed it to brain wealth to see if that would catch people's attention more. So,
That's a nice book.
well, hopefully. So, let's talk about what B.R.A.I.N stands for. And, of course, to keep you from being too bored, I have another video. Okay. So
It
this
is Thanksgiving, Thursday, November 27th. This is Good Day Chicago.
all right. Now I need 3 volunteers.
I'll be happy to do that.
Okay. Shelley, Shirley, and
You know you want to volunteer.
Come on, B.
Jan.
All right.
Okay. You hold that one. All right. You can hold this one. And so you can stand slightly off the side, but you can also watch because you're going to need to do that. So, as is mentioned before, I've been on television about 20 times, a little more than 20 times, talking about Alzheimer's. And they don't give you much time on TV. You get like 3 to 5 minutes, so you have to really condense it down. And so, I came up with a routine where we talk about 3 things that are significant in causing Alzheimer's. And so this is, anyone recognize this person?
John Belushi.
John Belushi, right. And this?
B.A.N.K.
Yeah, it's supposed to be King Charles. I mean, King. It's supposed to be Charles. And these?
3 Stooges.
3 Stooges. Okay. So they're going to appear in this, and so when they appear, you're going to hold it up.
Oh,
All right?
all right.
And then I have this, which is also B.R.A.I.N, and that's the topic right now, right? What does B.R.A.I.N stand for?
Right.
So hopefully this will be a little fun.
So far.
November is Alzheimer's Awareness Month, and joining us this morning is Dr. Jay Sordian, a natural medicine practitioner, doctor. And Dr. Jay, good to have you with us.
As you know, Ronald Reagan, Margaret Thatcher, and Nelson Mandela all had Alzheimer's. You don't have to be famous to get Alzheimer's because 1 in 8 Americans has Alzheimer's. My heart goes out to them because it's tragic. So we have some ways to prevent it.
All right, you have some tips about there are actually ways that can make people more susceptible to the disease that you want to kind of stay away from. Let's run down that list.
So number 1, we call it John Belushi. He was a very large man, a comedian. Alzheimer's, no joking matter though. Fat, the more fat you have in the body, this is 5 pounds of fat.
5 pounds of fat.
Yeah, that's unbelievable.
And so the more fat you have in the body, the smaller your brain becomes.
Kaiser
So it's very important to deal with the
research
obesity
show.
issue.
Yeah.
Number 2, we call the Prince Charles. Prince Charles, some of these pictures show sort of bad teeth, but if your teeth are inflamed or have infection, that can go up into the sinuses, cause sinus infection, and then eventually cause leaky brain syndrome, which damages the brain. So it's very important to take care of your dental health.
I never knew that. Great tip.
Number 3, we call the Three Stooges. Now, when I was growing up, I used to watch them. They're very funny, slapstick comedy. They have lots of blows to the head in various ways. But those cumulative traumas can create problems in later life. So they have to be taken seriously. So you can put like on special helmets and all, which is being done now in all kinds of sports. They're much more careful about how we take care of the brain. Also, whiplash injuries, people trivialize those, but if this was your brain and a 15-mile-an-hour impact, whiplash injury is going to be like this. So it's actually more serious than we think. So taking care of that's very important.
All right. So those are some things that can happen. So what are some just things you should do proactively?
So I have something called Dr. J's brain formula. B stands for blood circulation. Taking care of getting blood to your brain is very important. We use neurologic release center technique. We use acupuncture and other methods. Number 2, removing toxins. There are many neurotoxic chemicals and heavy metals in the environment. Getting those out of the body is very important. Number 3, avoiding sugar. Type 3 diabetes is Alzheimer's. That's what it's called now. So avoiding sugar is very important. Number 4, I stands for inflammation, dealing with inflammation in the teeth, in the joints, other areas. And number 5, Corey, is names.
Okay.
Remembering names.
Yeah.
When you first meet someone, all the names in a different part of your brain keep your brain healthy. So remembering names when you first meet someone is a great idea.
All right. Dr. J, how did I do?
Very good. Thank you so much, bro.
I appreciate the tips and the information. I'm not quite sure I've gotten over this yet. That's a shocker.
It is a shocker.
Thanks for being with us.
Shirley, Kelly, and Jen.
There you go.
Practice, practice, practice. Names are one of the things that a lot of people say they have difficulty remembering, and which is why it's a great idea to practice remembering them. Because when you think about, so you're Walter, right? And are you married or single? Or single? And do you have like a mother or father who's living, a grandparent? Do you remember what your father's voice sounded like?
Yes.
Yes. And so, do you remember what he looks like?
Yeah.
And so, there's sounds and visual, they're all different parts of the brain. And so, any kind of name associated with a person's face, with their experience, etc., is always going to be locked in different parts of the brain. So we want to integrate the brain. We want to, like, jumping all around to pull those parts all together. And so, practicing remembering people's names when you first meet them is a great thing to do because it's exercising your brain. It's different from Sudoku, it's different from crossword puzzles, it's different from playing bananagrams. Anyone play bananagrams? It's a great game. I love it. It's one of the things our family just played recently. So, all right, so now I'm going to give you a little chance to forget some things. All right. What? I'm going to go around.
Starting this new job has helped me practice people's names all day long.
Yeah, I'm so
And I
impressed.
celebrate when I got it. I'm like, yes! And they think they're so special because I'm like, woo!
And that's exactly right.
But,
Kind of nothing wrong with
it's
that.
like constant.
Yeah, when I came here a few weeks ago to check out the space and everything, Shirley's like whipping off these names like that, and I'm thinking,
Wow, okay.
and
I
she'd
was
only been here
practicing.
like 2 days. It's so impressive. You're really impressive.
Well, thank you.
And remembering people's names, they feel special.
Mhm.
It's a really nice thing to do because it creates that human bond. It's something which I try to practice, and when I screw up, who was it, somebody the other day had this great phrase. Would you remind me of what your, I don't know what it was, but it was like this really, I was trying to remember how they said it. Would you remind me of how you say your name again or something? Or how you spell your name again? Oh, it's J-O-E? I mean, it's one of the things, there's a famous guy who, I think his name's Levy, his last name. But anyway, he wrote a book on how to remember people's names. And there's the FACE system. And so you repeat the person's name, you imagine someone else's name, you focus on the person at hand. And that's sometimes difficult because there can be a lot going on at that moment. So you really focus on that one person and try to remember their name. So, B.R.A.I.N. So Jan, what did B stand for?
Blood circulation.
Blood circulation, very good. All right. So Walter, what did R stand for? It's okay if you don't remember. Who remembers? R doesn't stand for remember, but who remembers? Remove toxins.
Oh,
Removing toxins from your body.
How do we do that?
So there's different liver cleansing processes that are very important to do. There's others, it could be heavy metals, it could be other chemicals. So it depends on which ones you have as to how we do it. All right, A.
Is there a test we can take to find out?
Yeah. There's tests that I run in my office.
Oh,
There's specific ones.
of course.
And what's your name?
Jim Lane. This is Val.
Jim
Which I-
Val?
Yep.
Okay. So Jim, what does A stand for?
Awesome.
That wasn't very fair, was it? That was good. Good response. Okay, who can say?
Avoid.
Avoid sugar. Very good. And I?
Information.
Inflammation. Great. And N? Very good. All right. So those are some things that you can do to maximize your memory. Now, this is one of the books I wrote. In that particular book, and this is also a benefit to raise money for the Alzheimer's Association.
Thank you.
And so your donation will provide you with a book, your choice of which book. And so I want you to donate generously and think about what you would like me to write in your book. Remember your name so I can write your name. Or if it's for somebody else, I'll sign it over to that other person. But this particular book I wrote as an expansion on the TV segments I was doing. As I mentioned, I get like 3 minutes, 5 minutes or something to be on TV. So I can't really say a lot. So this book actually contains elaborations on why these things are important. And also in each particular chapter, there is a survey, which I want you to fill out. And you put like 0, never, to 3 is like all the time. And you fill that out, you add it up. And depending on your score, that may be an issue for you right now. So it's a way to figure out kind of on your own what things you need to address. And it's outsmarting the dementia epidemic. 7 key memory care actions to avoid Alzheimer's and successfully keep your brain safe, sharp, and sexy into the future. I was hoping that would sell more books by having sex. It's not a long chapter, but it gets to the point.
Could you talk about the difference between dementia and Alzheimer's?
Thank you.
Yes, dementia is a broad category, and there are several kinds of dementia. So there is Alzheimer's, which is 70 to 75% of all cases of dementia are Alzheimer's. Then there's vascular dementia, alcoholic dementia. There's a bunch of different types.
Parkinsonian.
Yeah. So,
But
did that answer your question?
But when you're talking, and the world is talking these days about Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
Is it specifically Alzheimer's, or is that just to name people recognize?
Well, as
Think of
it's
it as
70% it's different from some of the causes of others,
Yes.
but there's also underlying causes that it's not totally clear why someone has Alzheimer's versus some other kind of dementia. Because it's all brain degeneration.
Yes.
There's different areas that may be affected. But the specifics, there's a lot of theories. There's Lewy body dementia, there's tangles and things like that, which are associated. And there may be some brain scans that people can do. I haven't actually gone to Daniel Hammond's thing and got one of those SPECT scans. Anyone done that? He's like on KQED, you know,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
special SPECT. You've done it?
Does one progress faster than the other? Alzheimer's?
It depends on the individual. So, for example, I think maybe I talked about that in the next slide, maybe. No. We already handed out the survey, so you can fill that out if you're interested in the discovery data. A discovery session. So, I think I mentioned earlier that Alzheimer's typically takes 10 to 20 years to develop for, but it can take 4 or 5. There are cases where, bam, it just happened very quickly, and everyone's going, oh,
Is that usually
what
the
happened?
early onset time?
Early onset, yeah, I mean, earlier ages is that, but it can still happen, it can progress very, very quickly.
What are the typical symptoms?
Symptoms? I'm not really going to go in that right now, but memory loss, disorientation, not being able to find your way back places, sleep problems. There can be anxiety, there can be agitation, there can be depression.
Well, I'm enjoying this wonderful wine, and that has to do with toxins. So I would like a little emphasis on that.
It's also good for the circulation.
What was the question?
You
said you're enjoying
Talk
wine.
about one of the items, did you emphasize the toxins in wine?
Oh, as far as the
You
wine?
would consider
You know,
alcohol
wine does
and-
have some positive beneficial effects, but alcohol itself can be detrimental to the liver. And so, because the liver has so many different functions.
Flushing for
And it also cleans out a lot of toxins out of the body, heavy metals and pesticides, and we're all exposed to. I mean, there are 100,000 new chemicals in the environment that never existed 80 years ago. Now, for example, this computer, this isn't mine, but I think computers are great. I love them. They're also a pain in the butt, but they're wonderful. And, you know, I don't think it's made out of wood. I don't think it's made out of silicon, and it's made out of metals, but this is almost entirely fabricated materials.
Right.
And there's so many things that we live and use every day that are completely man-made, never been existing before. And our bodies are, I can't remember, is it 250 million years old or something like that. And our bodies were never exposed to that. So with adaptation, change over time, we're exposed to things and we try to adapt. But this is such a rapid change that this massive exposure to brand new chemicals that never existed before, and an extremely small fraction have ever been tested for health effects. The California Society of, I think it's occupational toxicologists or something, they had a meeting that was in Berkeley that I went to a breakfast with the Chamber of Commerce, and across the hallway they were having this big convention. I went over and I said, "Oh, hi, you know, what are you doing here?" And they told me, and I said, "Oh, I heard that out of there's 100,000 new chemicals." And they said, "No, it's 250,000." And then I said, "Well, I heard that, you know, like 10% have been tested." They said, "No, it's only like about 300." I mean, it's this very small number, so we really don't know what influence they have. And so there may be some of those chemicals in the alcohol that's in the wine. It's also that, hopefully not.
Contributing.
Hopefully not. There's no like computer parts or any semiconductors or anything that are in your wine there. But try to eat and drink as organically as possible is always a good idea, just in case those chemicals are not good for you. So, what does H.E.A.L.T.H of the brain health stand for? Well, actually, it's supposed to be brain wealth, but I didn't have to. So just pretend like this.
Means
Just
which
pretend
W
like
was H. Right?
this is a W, right? Okay, this is a W.
You wish W was H.
Yeah. So, first of all, in the program, we figure out why you want to avoid Alzheimer's. And we do a history taking to allow you to tell your whole life story. So that we find out why you are where you are and how to improve things. What's the next letter in health? Well, E. Very good. All right, E. So E stands for evaluation with various surveys. So you and I get to know each other better, and so we can find out what might be going on in your health and why things are going the way they are. Next letter.
A.
Good. Let's see.
Eat more apples?
A stands for, we do a neurological evaluation and we do an analysis of the neurological exam results. So we don't forget to overturn any stone that may need polishing. It's very important to really look and see what subtle things might be changing. For example, testing your sense of smell. My nose couldn't pass anything today. But with peanut butter, if one side you can smell, one side you can't, it's an early sign of brain degeneration.
Each nostril, you say?
Yeah, you come in from a different angle. Of course, you have to close your eyes. You know, at first I use carbon tetrachloride, and I use all these toxic things first.
So which side is a bad thing?
What's that?
Which side indicates?
I think it's the left side that you can smell, right side you won't. So, what's the next letter?
L.
L, very good. Just testing. This is like your crossword puzzle test every day. L stands for laboratory testing, just like Shirley asked about if there's ways to test to see if you have chemical toxicity or heavy metals. So laboratory testing, the factors we know that lead to brain degeneration, so you know more about yourself and the factors that you can control in your life that may lead you to brain degeneration. And then we have the next letter.
T.
T, wow, you guys are good spellers.
Yes.
T stands for treatment plan.
Treatment.
That is individualized, and it will also tell you what we will do together and why we will do those tests. Okay. But on schedule according to PowerPoint presentation. And the last one? H. This is not the W, this is the H. And this is, H stands for healthy habits and changes. Using food, exercise, meditation, and hypnotherapy if we need it to reduce stress responses and reprogram the brain at a deep level. Acupuncture, neurologic relief center techniques, supplements, and other natural means. This is giving you actions you can use to feel more vital, less fatigued, and more able to authentically engage in life with your family, your children, grandchildren, and friends. So that's the wealth part of brain wealth. Again, as I mentioned earlier with the question, the Alzheimer's Association has stated that, let's get here, that Alzheimer's typically takes 10 to 20 years to develop. And there are cases that I personally heard of as well, and Shirley has as well. Early onset Alzheimer's, things like that, where it only takes 4 to 5 years. Fully developed, and then the person dies as a result of their brain degenerating so far that their bodily functions just can't work because the brain coordinates everything. The Alzheimer's Association also states that Alzheimer's is a multifaceted disease. It's caused by a variety of issues. So, I want you to think about what things you are doing right now to address this. Now, perhaps you have blood sugar issues and you're trying to address those. That could be one of them. Or perhaps you're eating as organically as you can afford. Or perhaps you built a car out of wood. Or you're riding around in a wagon with horses.
Or maybe you're riding around in 1960s vintage and it's already been off gas and everything's okay.
There you go. Is that your situation, Kelly?
No, it is not. However,
I have a question.
So
If someone
again-
has diabetes,
These are good problems.
is that are they more likely to get Alzheimer's if they have diabetes?
Diabetes, yeah, I'm going to address that.
Okay.
Well, you know, will they get, or are they more likely to get Alzheimer's? The question, their brain is going to degenerate more quickly. So we're talking about brain degeneration and preventing that. There are a lot of different ways your brain can degenerate, and then you get Alzheimer's or dementia, or you get some constellation of something that you may not be able to label a particular thing, but it's bad enough that you can't function.
Yeah, okay.
So definitely that. So essentially, it's sort of a puzzle as to what's going on. And each person has to be looked at individually. I found this online yesterday, and it took me hours to put this last little segment together, but because it's a puzzle, I found it.
You're dealing with 23andMe, right?
What?
23andMe.
Yeah.
Do you think that will help? I just
So
wondered if-
23andMe is a way to look at a variety of possible genetic variants that occur, that there are specific things that we do know. For example, certain chromosomal aberrations or anomalies will make it more difficult for you to process B12. And vitamin B12 is a very important component of a lot of processes in the body. So if you know you have that, then there are forms of B12 that are a step later from the place where it's sort of messed up. And so you can take those to supplement your body and your functioning and to compensate for the fact that it's not working.
Sublingual or time release?
Or
Sublingual or time release?
it's probably in several different forms. But it's a different.
It's different for
There's
everybody.
biochemical charts, and it shows, B12 has to change into another form into another, and there's enzymes, and certain enzymes aren't made sufficiently so that you don't efficiently create the next byproduct or the next metabolite. So you just jump to that one.
Okay.
So that's an example. Okay, we talked a little bit about sugar. So does anyone know of anyone with advanced diabetes? Raise your hand. And so what kind of symptoms does that person have?
Well, she's